Single versus tandem axle trailers. Oh, let's get right into it. So, you're going to buy a trailer. Not sure if you're going to get a single axle or a tandem axle. Well, let's talk about it. Everything's going to be kind of related to, in the sense of buying a box trailer rather than a specialty trailer. However, everything is relevant. There are kind of chapters scattered throughout this, but everything interlinks, as you'll see. Let's get into it. So, what have I done with trailers? Well, I've spent a few years in front of them. I've also driven a variety of trucks with trailers. I'm also a professional mountain biker, and I can eat with chopsticks. Quickly like to thank the sponsor of this video, onions. Brown onions. Yeah, right, thanks, onions. Now, let's look at the 3 things that will determine what trailer you should buy already, out of your control. First, as we've already said, specialty trailers, custom trailers. If you are needing to be able to carry a certain volume of stuff, meaning size, or if you need to carry certain weights, your job is done for you. You will get the trailer, custom design, whatever it is, to suit whatever work you need to do. The second thing is usage, kind of similar to what we just said. If you are going to be planning to move certain weights or certain dimensions, your trailer will need to accommodate that. Whether that's, so for myself, I'm going to be looking to move a bit of garden waste, pick up a fridge, maybe move some bikes. None of that really affects the dimensions. However, I also looking to move quite a lot of hay, and hay is quite light, takes up a lot of room. So the larger the trailer, the better I can get weight on it and distribute it better. If you're going to be moving something such as a ride-on lawnmower between your perfect little holiday home and your real home, then you're going to need a trailer that can fit the size of the deck. You'll potentially be buying a mower with a deck that's a little bit smaller than what you can often get, just so it can fit your trailer. Now, both single and tandem axle trailers come in a variety of sizes. The smaller size in Australia is a 6x4 as a standard, 6 feet long, 4 feet wide. The standard size for a tandem axle trailer is 8x5, 8 feet long, 5 foot wide. You can easily find a bunch of single axle trailers in the standard 8x5 size. So that means I can use an 8x5 single axle trailer for hay, for moving lawnmowers, general stuff, tables and chairs, shit like that. However, if I'm going to be moving really large things, such as roofing iron, long pieces of wood and timber, or the ego of someone who believes in the correct God, not the one that you believe in, but the one that is correct, then you're going to need a large trailer, which you can really only get in tandem axle. Side dish. Yeah. The third thing we're going to look at that should determine what trailer you can and can't buy, or should or shouldn't buy, is the load rating capacity of your vehicle. In Australia, at least, probably everywhere else, you have 2 ratings. You have a braked trailer rating and an unbraked rating. This is in relation to the maximum weight that you can tow with a trailer that has brakes or does not have brakes. You can get brakes on a single axle trailer. Tandem axle trailers must have brakes, so they all have it. Everything in Australia that you can carry without brakes is 750 kilos, so that's just... wash your hands with that. We're really just going to focus on brakes. You can still get single axle trailers in a variety of sizes that don't have brakes, so the volume is not so much affected. You can get mechanical brakes or electric brakes. Now, electric brakes require a certain special kind of controller inside the car. If that's the case, then you are dedicating a vehicle and trailer setup that are married to each other with the electrical brake system. That's more something you find on custom stuff. It also increases the weight you can carry, 3.5 ton, or which is like 6,000 pounds, 7,000 pounds, but I don't know what you can do in the US. That's up to you to check your own laws. However, mechanical brakes are basically all in-house. They are actuated within the trailer system itself. So there's nothing additional that you need to put on the vehicle that you're going to tow with. Now, you can find load ratings for your vehicle either inside the vehicle itself, plates, in the handbook, or online at carsales.com.au or redbook.com.au. Probably similar thing in America or another place that you are that is not America or Australia, one of them other shit countries. I'm kidding. America's shit too. Oh, come on, Australia, we all suck. Anyway, a couple of examples of cars with different tow ratings is the Nissan Micra, 750 kilos, braked, unbraked, doesn't matter. So you are locked in to a small trailer, single axle, no brakes. Something like a Camry or a Subaru Forester, you're looking at sort of 1900 kilos. So you can pull tandem axle trailers, not fully loaded, mostly loaded. Something like a Hilux with a 2.7 petrol engine, which is what I am looking to get when I can finally afford it, has a tow rating of about 2.5 tonne. Now that is enough to carry a fully loaded mechanical brake tandem axle. Now something big, cool, tough, man, like Mitsubishi Triton, nothing will frighten a Triton, have a capacity of about 3.5 tonne, heaps and heaps. You can tow anything. At that point, if that is your tow vehicle, you are really looking at this sort of video, working out which one suits you more, because you are not held back from the capacity of the vehicle. So things like utes, four-wheel drives, big vehicles, also larger SUVs, and kind of that medium-sized SUV like a Subaru Forester RAV4. This video is kind of for you guys working out if you want a tandem or a single axle. Most of the time, single axle will carry basically everything you need, but this is for you. If you've got something like this Nissan Skyline or this Toyota Supra, then you are sort of bound to single axle trailers. Then you're just working out what size you want. Do you want a large one, like an 8x5? Do you want a 6x4? Is that going to work for you? That's just working out the dimensions, not of the single versus tandem. Now, why should you care about tow ratings and capacities? Two reasons. One, your vehicle is designed for certain weights and tolerances. You are going to be braking stuff or potential to brake stuff, normally at slower speeds. If you're backing up a hill, going through a drain, you're reversing a trailer up a steep driveway, you're on full lock, the CVs are vulnerable, the clutch is vulnerable, the auto box is going to get hot, etc. It's not about power, it's about the vehicle's sort of tolerances. The example is that Toyota Hilux, slow little piece of shit, but my favourite little piece of shit. So the parts of the vehicle are built strong, even if it's got low power, so it can handle a bigger trailer. The second part is if you are involved in an accident, your fault or not, if you are carrying a trailer that is overloaded and overweight, then you are going to get fucked by your insurance. So quick summary on weights. Single axle, no brakes, can have about 750 kilos in total weight, which is about 400 kilos payload because the trailer weighs about 350. Single axle with brakes, you've got about a 400 kilo trailer and you can go to 1,400, 1,600 kilos all up. So you can get about a ton onto that. Tandem axle trailer, you can get probably about 1.5 tons and beyond, depending on your brake setup, whether it's mechanical or electric. Side dish. Right, now we are getting into real single versus tandem axle stuff now. Let's keep a tally from here. So, reversing. I've heard it said that tandem axles are easier to reverse than single axles. Bullshit! Nothing to do with the amount of axles. Goddamn fools. Misinformation. Nothing to do with the axles. It's all to do with the pivot points. Now, the pivot points are from the toe ball to the axle. That length. So it's really mostly in the drawbar length, and then as well the size of the box. It's not to do with the amount of axles. With the tandem axle, it is the point in between both the axles, the center of the two axles, normally a little bit forward. A lot of tandems tend to favor the front axle. The rear one sort of drags and skips around a bit extra. Here's a little Lego demonstration where I've exaggerated the position of the axle. I've just used one because it doesn't make a difference whether it's tandem or single. So when the trailer's quite long with the pivot points, the trailer reacts slower to inputs into the steering wheel. Makes it easier to catch when it's moving around, easier to chase. Compare this with a trailer that has a short pivot point. The trailer is quickly moving with any inputs into the steering wheel. As a result, you are much busier on the wheel of a shorter trailer. I don't think that's an issue. Unless you suck. Nah, just kidding. We all suck to start with. You'll work it out. Whatever trailer you have, you'll get used to when you learn how to maneuver it properly. So if you get a 6x4 trailer, it's going to be faster to move and harder to back than an 8x5. But that's an 8x5 tandem or single. Doesn't matter. It's about the length of the pivot points. Quick side note, 6x4 trailers are generally narrower than the vehicle that is towing it. Therefore, it's hard to see it in your mirror until it's moving to one side or the other, not a straight line. Whereas 8x5 and beyond, those trailers normally sit sort of outside the width of the vehicle, so you can always see it in your mirror. Therefore, you know if it's starting to turn one way or the other. But again, this is to do with length of the trailer and the gap between the pivot points, not to do with the goddamn fucking axles. So on our scorecard, this is go down as a draw for reasons I've just explained. Next, stability. The tandem wins because there's going to be 4 wheels all pointing dead forward. All those axles are parallel. Going to be trying to keep that trailer arrow straight going down the road. They'll be less prone to wiggling. I'll use my hand here to try and demonstrate. A single will sort of whip a bit after a bit of an input into the steering wheel, whereas a tandem axle will try and hold the car forward, keep the whole unit moving forward, straight line. A large portion of the stability is also to do with the length of the trailer, which is not determined by the amount of axles. However, tandems are more stable. Stability is also affected by the weight placement on the axles and how they share. Tandem axles share the weight of the load between them. As a result, they are less prone to fishtailing, as any kind of incorrect weight placement can be sort of catered for a little bit with the tandem. Still definitely prone to it, still have accidents. We're going to link a video down in the description that explains it way better about putting your weight forward, back, center, how it affects the vehicle. They do a great job explaining that. Go check that out. However, this isn't as big as a thing that people make it out to be, because a lot of the time you're going to be moving stuff like a fridge, which weighs really not that much. You're going to be putting that forward on the single axle. You're going to load a Lego bulldozer, that's going to go forward. You're going to load Bitcoins, you're going to put that at the front of the trailer rather than at the rear of the trailer, where it's going to really cause that vehicle to whip around a lot more. When you're doing hay, gravel, something where the load's more distributed, it's definitely more of a factor, but trailers are designed quite well to share the load correctly. But you still need to be mindful. Something like a caravan, this is relevant very much for caravans as well. You are relying a bit on them designing the caravan properly. Anyway, a lot of the time you're going to be using that box trailer, it's going to be a lot of the time based on space, like a table and chair set, moving stuff, taking it to the dump. It's going to be about space rather than weight placement. So on the scorecard, I'm going to say that there's a point to the tandem and 0.8 points to the single axle, because it's less of a factor than people make it out to be. It's not all about that weight. It's very often about that space usage. Okay, next we're going to be talking about screwing the ground. Screwing the ground. So when you are turning the trailers tightly, sort of at 90-degree angles with the vehicle, those tandem axles are going to screw the ground. I've got a little Lego clip here. You can see that they're because they pivot in between the axles, not at one or the other. While you're backing around in your garden, you're going to be tearing up that lawn. You're also going to be wearing out the tires, especially if you're on bitumen. You're also going to be wearing out the bearings because they are taking the load. Something's got to give. It's in the bearings, it's in the tires, and it's in the ground. Whichever way it is, it's coming out of your pocket. Compare this with a single axle. Those things move independently. The wheels move independent. They're not screwing the ground. It's much nicer on your property when you're going to be driving that thing around, putting wood chips, filling in gardens, etc. So that's going to be another point to the single. Yeah. Okay, drag. Now we're going to talk about drag. Your vehicle is using energy to get that trailer moving. It's pulling that weight, but it's also rotating those tires. If you've got an extra set of tires on there, that's more energy. That's going to be more fuel. It's going to be more work for the vehicle. If you are screwing around as well, sort of backing into different places or going around tight roundabouts, that's also going to cause more drag. That screwing's really going to be noticeable at that point. It's nearly to the point that driving a loaded single axle trailer is like driving an empty tandem. That's kind of how it feels. It's pretty dramatic. So that's definitely another point to the single. While we're sort of on the topic of drag and weight and screwing around, you can move a single axle trailer by picking it up and moving it around. You can walk it around the garden or use a quad bike or a child to push it around, anything like that. You can manhandle that trailer much easier than you can with a tandem. Tandems, you just really can't. They're there. You've got to hook up with your vehicle and move it around. So another point to the single. Costs. Cost. It costs more to buy more material. It's going to cost more to buy the tandem axle trailer. That's one thing. You could argue resale, but really in Australia, it doesn't matter. Any kind of trailer sells really quick, really fast, no matter the condition. So whatever you buy, you can sell it tomorrow in a heartbeat. So the initial cost is one thing, but the second thing is maintenance. You're going to be screwing those tyres around on a tandem compared to a single, so you're going to be using more tyres. You're also going to be replacing the ball bearings more often, the wheel bearings in that tandem, because when you're going around any kind of corner, you are fighting. Those wheel bearings are fighting with the ground. Something's got to give because none of those wheels turn, so it's all going into those bearings. Third point is registration. So sometimes registration is based on the weight that the trailer can tow. Other times it's based on the amount of axles that it has. If you save, say, $100 a year on registration because you bought a single instead of a tandem, every 2 years you'd have $200 to hire a big trailer for any big jobs that happen, which don't happen a lot, so you can save up and reuse the money that way. Quickly on costs, if you've got anything other than standard sort of sizes, it's going to be more difficult to replace parts such as the cage or the floor if need be. So if you've got 6x4, 8x5, 10x6, beyond that, if you've got a 9x4, that's going to be a bitch to try and find parts for. It's going to have to be custom done. So that's going to increase your costs as well ongoing forward. So singles, another point. Oh, I might look biased, maybe because I am. Right, well, there's all the scores. Whatever about them. It really is a horses for courses thing. And everyone's situation is different. For example, I have, and we have as a business, have utes around. So the trailers more merely just complement the utes. We also have trucks, so we've used that for big weight stuff as well. Now, apart from our fuel trailers, we have mainly a couple of single box trailers around, and that is used. I don't remember the last time I hooked up to a tandem axle trailer as a result. Never needed something that big just because of what we are doing. Other people are doing different things. We work in rural area where people are carting around excavator buckets flat out, parts for tractors, moving large quantities of wood. So they've got the use for it. Whereas I am sort of looking into the future where I'm going to buy my own personal trailer in a sec. And I've been thinking about what do I need, what am I going to use it for? One, what type of vehicle am I going to have? I'm going to have a Hilux that can handle a big one, but it's going to be using more fuel, a little bit harder on the running gear, etc. And I can't actually see where I'm going to need more than a ton. Going to be getting grain for goats, going to be getting hay. Can get enough hay with what I need because I've got the ute to complement, so I've got enough space there. I'm going to get an 8x5, so there's going to be enough sort of room for any kind of wood or a few rocks or stuff that's going to go home. Can pick up a table and chairs, etc. for kitting the house out. Outside of work, I can't see how I'm going to need a ton and a half or over a ton. So my plan is to get an 8x5 single axle braked trailer. I asked my cousin what he thought, and he had a great answer. He said, I've already got this ute that can tow heavy weights, so I'd probably buy a tandem. That'd be it. I've already got the vehicle, but if I was in a different situation, I'd probably buy something else. Talked to another workmate. He said he'd buy a tandem because he knows that his parents work in a different industry. They'd be saying, oh, quick, we need to go get tracks for the excavator and stuff like that. So they're very different horses for courses. Last factor I'd say is, what do you want emotionally? What do you want? If you were in the position where you can buy a tandem or a single, provided you're not driving a Supra or a Micra, then yeah, just get the thing that you want. Makes you happy. You might enjoy having the big trailer, looks good, tow stuff nice and easy as well. You may instead enjoy driving around with a single axle with brakes going, I've done the research, I know very well, I'm better than other people. I even made a video and I posted on Idiot on Reviews. People are going to love it, I'm so smart, I'm better than the... Which you can bet your shit that I'm going to be doing that. So you should get what you want or what you think that you need. You can sell them lightning fast if it's not right. Good thing to do would be to hire a couple of trailers for one day, to spend that extra bit of money, hire a single, hire a tandem, tow them, see how they feel, learn about it a little bit, then make your decision after that. You might be bound by weight, what you think you're going to be hauling or what you are definitely going to be hauling, or you might be bound by you want to put that thing in the garden a lot, so you want to be easier on the ground. You might have a budget. You might just have to get the cheaper one. If you're caravanning and doing road miles, racking miles, then the tandem is more stable. That's just the way it is. Or if you've got horses, it'll be a better ride for them as well. So, thanks for watching. And, yeah, I'll probably see you in 14 months with a new upload, eh? Bye.